And now it's time for another interview on the Babylon Bee podcast.
Welcome to the Babylon Bee interview show. We're here with our editor-in-chief, Kyle Mann, and our special guest, Dave Ramsey. Dave, thank you so much for having us. We're so happy to be here.
Well, I'm honored to be. I'm on the Bee. It happened. I've been on the Bee a couple of times, and some of them are funny, and some of them. But yeah, you guys are pretty nice to me. You've been pretty kind to me, as opposed to some of my friends who you just completely trash. But yeah,
we know you usually don't get this kind of exposure, so we just want you to feel comfortable, and don't feel too nervous speaking to our large podcast audience.
Okay, I'll try to behave.
Just
All right.
So
breathe.
Just take a breath, and it's going to be all right. So we wanted to start out by asking you a few questions.
All right.
You say it's never okay to use a credit card, but we have some scenarios that we think we can get you to say, yes, in that situation, it would be okay.
32 years people have been trying this on
Okay,
the
well, we're going to give it a try.
Dave.
Yeah,
But Dave.
This segment is called But Dave.
But Dave.
But Dave...
Hey guys, we at the Babylon Bee know two things: how to tell a joke and what it's like to be censored. And we're all out of jokes. That's why we love telling you about Alliance Defending Freedom, a Christian legal ministry that is fighting for your First Amendment freedoms and God-given rights in courts and legislatures nationwide. While other groups may talk a lot about defending our freedoms, ADF walks the walk. They just won their 15th Supreme Court victory in the last 12 years. That's over one a year. With government officials and big tech censors ready and willing to silence you, ADF is needed now as much as ever. They defend their clients in court free of charge. But that's only possible because of generous people like you. Your gift of $19 a month to ADF will help protect your right to live and speak the truth. Go to adflegal.org/donate to start your gift today and make freedom a part of your monthly budget. Now we know that's Dave Ramsey approved. This has not actually been approved by Dave Ramsey.
It's the But Dave segment.
Okay, so the first one is the new Zelda game just came out for the Nintendo Switch. And you won't have the cash to buy it for 6 more days.
I'm such a boomer. I don't know what a Nintendo Switch is, and I don't know what Zelda is. So I'm thinking no.
So it's not all right.
Apparently it's not a necessity, or I would know what it is.
Okay.
I've got one that may be more compelling.
All right.
Okay.
Your pet ferret just broke his tail. The veterinarian says you have to pay $6,000 for the splint, otherwise your pet ferret dies. You don't have any money. Can you put that on a credit card?
That's so sad for that ferret.
The ferret's going to die. He's going to let the ferret die.
Is he going to let the ferret die?
It's this ferret. Yeah, I'm sad. Sort of sad, but yeah. It's awful.
All right. Well, that one didn't work.
No.
He let the ferret die. All right. So Jesus himself appears to you in a vision.
Now we're going to play the Jesus card. Okay.
And he says, you know what, Dave? It's all right. You can use a credit card. Just this one time.
Yeah. I would worry if that was last night's pizza or actually Jesus, because I'm one of those old-fashioned Christians that believes he's never inconsistent with his word. So I would think
It's just a bad burrito.
You know, I've had a lot of things God told me until I found out later it was last night's pizza, and stupid butt stuff I've done, and blame God on it, and then it wasn't his fault, and so I wouldn't do that one either.
So he's an imposter. All
This is good. He's consistent so far, but I've got a real kicker for him.
Okay, you're going to
sick
keep pushing the edge here.
You're sick and tired of being sick and tired. You're at rock bottom, no money left. Can you use a credit card for a 1-year subscription to Financial Peace University?
That's been tried before. The problem is we don't take credit cards. So, we only take debit cards and, other methodologies of collecting cash, but we don't do it. That was a big thing. When we started, it was like people would, we for a long time wouldn't take even a debit card because everybody was accusing us of being hypocrites, and they're looking for a reason to be pissed off at us so they don't have to do our stuff because it's hard, and that's part of the lean in on it. But I got too serious. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good, man. Just don't be nervous, all right? Be comfortable.
I'll try.
All right.
I'll try.
So, you fall asleep on the couch. Maybe you had a nice cigar and you're relaxing and you fall asleep on the couch and the TV's on. You then wake up at 3 a.m. and there's a guy on TV that's telling you about this great new product that slices and dices and chops up, vegetables, meats, whatever you want. And it's only 36 easy payments of $19.99.
Of course, yeah.
Is that
ShamWow? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, would that be an exception to the?
That absolutely is not. It sounds like a nightmare more than an exception. But,
Now, what about this? This one should be compelling to you.
Okay.
Getting a credit card to stay one step ahead of the payments that are due from the other credit card companies that you owe credit card debt to.
Yeah, that sounds sustainable, doesn't it? He said sarcastically. Yeah. We're not doing good here, guys. We're going to have to...
We're 0 for 6 or 7.
Yeah.
We really need to kick it up a notch here.
Well, it's just the problem is I'm a hardhead, so I'm stuck on it. My preacher told me one time, he said, Ramsey, you just say the same thing over and over and over again. I said, so do you.
Well, it's not a bad thing for a preacher.
Yeah, not a bad thing for me. It's worked out.
You. Well, for you either.
And you don't have a credit card?
No, I've got 2 debit cards in my pocket, and 2 other pieces of plastic would be my handgun carry permit and my driver's license.
All right.
That's it. And a whole bunch of redneck emergency fund, which is called Benjamin Franklin's. And you know what? They're accepted almost everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Almost.
Pretty crazy.
I don't know. Nowadays, I go to these places and it's no cash.
Yeah, because they're trying to keep their employees from stealing. Yeah, so they've gone to full digital. But, yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. It's been an interest. When we started all this, there weren't debit cards. We're telling people cut up their credit cards, and there was no way to do the stuff that credit cards do. Now, debit card does everything credit card does. So you really got no stupid excuse except I don't really just want to do it. That's the only excuse you got nowadays. But back in those days, we had to talk people into really being extremely weird. So, but we did it a little bit back in those days, but it's a lot easier to do it with a debit card now.
Yeah, absolutely. When's the last time you used a credit card?
Well, I haven't had one since I went bankrupt, because right after they wouldn't give me one to start with back in those days, and so I was 28, so it's over 30 years. I'm 60, getting ready to be 63, so whatever that is.
Yeah, so if you touched one, your hand would like shrivel up and catch on fire. A lot of hissing and your head spinning around.
You hear Charlton Heston in the background. No, we have a lot of fun stories with it. Like, we have friends and family that don't do a thing I say.
Sure.
And so, we're out to eat, and they're like, I'm paying with a credit card. I'm like, you're paying. So you can do whatever you want. So, but yeah, it comes up.
You just call them stupid. You just call them stupid, right?
Yeah, right, you're just stupid. Buy my meal, yeah.
Well, you call a lot of people stupid in your life. You're probably the person who's called more people stupid than anybody else.
And I get accused of that, but I think most of the time, maybe not every time, but most of the time I'm calling what they're doing is stupid.
Okay. That is stupid. And, not you are stupid.
Yeah, so, you bought that car. That was really stupid. Yeah. I don't say you're really stupid very often. And I might have done it because sometimes I get wired up or caffeined up or whatever. But yeah, but I've been stupid, and everybody knows that. I'm not afraid to share that I've been stupid with zeros on the end. So anything anybody's done that's dumb, I've probably done it dumber. But it doesn't mean you have to. Just because you've done stupid doesn't mean you have to stay in it and be stupid. But yeah, it's a little harsh for some people's taste. So that's where the Haterade comes out.
In the middle of a radio show call, when someone calls in, 888-825-5225, I've got it in my head because I've listened to so much.
Thank you.
When someone open phones.
This guy's a real suck-up,
Yeah, that was pretty strong right there. That's a strong game, yeah.
When someone calls in, how do you make that split-second decision? Is it based on their attitude or their word choice as to whether you're going to give them tough love or gentle encouragement?
Again, if I'm doing it right, and if the Ramsey personality sitting beside me is doing it right, this is how they're trained too. We're not fatigued before we sit down at the microphone because it's live, and we're not caffeinated to where we're and so trying to kill somebody. But what we're listening for is, if someone's earnestly asking a question and they do not have the background of where we're coming from, then to pounce on them would be not only rude but also ineffective from a persuasion standpoint. Because you just push them back rather than give them the reason. So you'll hear us, we'll start unpacking and teaching and trying to pull that new person in. But the guy that calls up and he goes, I've listened to you for 8 years. I love your stuff. I've been through Financial Peace University 4 times. I leased a car last week, and I refuse to pay off my student loan debt because Biden's going to pay it off. Well, expect that guy to get his head taken off. I mean, because you just walked into the tiger's cage and threw meat. I mean, but that's, I don't know whether he's nervous on the air or whether he really did all this stuff or whatever. And then the third one is the question that's asked. That's not really a question. It's a passive-aggressive statement. Like, Dave, you really don't think that getting all the points on the credit cards makes it worth keeping them? That's not a question. That's a statement.
Equatement.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Well, what about, this was something that came to mind because I've heard you say it. I've been doing this since you were in diapers. If someone calls in with attitude, you give that to them, but you have been in the game for a little while now. We wanted to ask, you've moved from radio show to now having a massive
I want to hear
digital...
your Dave impression a little more.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Go ahead.
Wow. How much debt do you have?
Well, no, your accent that you were just doing with the diapers.
You got to do a micro impression to leave them wanting more, so I just give them, wow.
You're really chickening out here, man. I'm a little disappointed.
Do you like the impression?
I think it's fabulous.
He thinks it's fabulous.
I thought it was fabulous, too. I wanted to hear more.
Okay, I'll give a little more.
Who is the impression of again?
I'll give a little more in asking my actual question. So here's my actual question. What has been the biggest change since you got into the financial advising world?
What the smartphone has done to our culture. Because we now have we have 2 generations calling the show, listening to the show, that have grown up with the entirety of the world's knowledge in their palm. It's a magic wand. They can push a button and stuff shows up at their desk. They can push a button and they have the answer to any question. They can push a button. And so there is it's a wonderful thing because they're so, those 2 generations are so empowered and they're so confident. But the downside of it is they feel like they're knowledgeable about things when they don't have the wisdom. Not necessarily the whole generation, but the person. And so someone will call in with that, and they're 23, and they've got maybe they're debt free, and maybe they got $500,000 saved, which would be freaking incredible for 23. I wish I'd done that when I was 23. But then they start lecturing me. And I got a few more zeros on the end of my age and on the end of my net worth and my income compared to that little guy. And so we're not going to get lectured. I'll celebrate with you that you're successful for your point. But, that doesn't mean you've got it all figured out how all this stuff we teach is wrong. So we're not going to do that. That'll get you in hot water. Because it's great radio, number one. It's compelling. It's fun to listen to that. We don't trash people just for that, but if you walk into it, it makes it. But the other thing is, I can't. If I went, oh yeah, you're right. After 30 years, I'm completely wrong. I guess we should just turn off these microphones and go home because what are we going to do tomorrow?
Pack it up,
apparently
everybody.
all this thing was a whole sham. So, no, yeah, so I can't really. If I was in person, just me and him sitting and talking, I could be a lot nicer and let him wander off into his delusion, right? But he walked in front of 25 million people. I've got to correct it. He didn't leave me an option. So that'll get you in trouble. Yeah.
How much Bitcoin do you have? I'm asking for financial advice here. Dogecoin, any of those?
I had that was exactly, those two lean on each other. I had a young man call yesterday on the show, and he was 23, and he had $150,000 saved, $30,000 of it in crypto. And he had a car payment, and he was making like $220,000 a year, and he was in his early 20s. And he said, I listen to you all the time. I do all your stuff. And I said, no, you don't. You got $30,000 in crypto. You're not listening to me. I said, are you going to do this thing? You asked me a question. Are you going to do this thing that I tell you to do when you didn't do that other thing I told you to do? So, are you really? And he's like, okay, you got me. All right, I'll sell the crypto. Now what do you want me to do? So, but yeah, no, I don't have any crypto.
He's so consistent, and we keep trying to get him with gotcha questions, but he won't bust out a credit card. Oh, Kyle, I don't have my wallet on me, and I don't have my hotel key, and I need to jimmy the hotel door open. Dave, I know you said you don't have your wallet.
I got something.
Dave, do you have a?
I got something I could.
Okay. Well, I was
use
gonna
for
ask.
that.
I was gonna ask Dave. Do you have
I gotta
a?
cover this number.
I was gonna ask Dave. Do you have a credit card that I could have for a moment?
I got you covered.
You got me
I
covered.
got you
Okay.
covered here.
Kyle's
The
got me
bad one
covered.
is my wife still says, after 30 years, we'll be out somewhere, hand me the credit card. And I'm like, honey, people are listening. And that is not. And I always correct her, honey, it's a debit card. It's a debit card. And that's to the whole store. Debit card right here, debit card here.
Nothing to see here.
But I can't get her to quit saying it. But she doesn't. She hasn't had one in 30 years, but she still calls it that.
Do you have any gold or precious metals buried in various locations?
I don't,
And could you give us any hints
No, I have
as
a
to-
really cool gold watch that the gold is probably worth more than the stupid watch, and I wish I could get rid of it. But I've thought about selling it just for the meltdown because it's like weighs 8 pounds, and I never wear it because it's super gaudy. But I bought it in a moment when thought I was celebrating, and it was dumb, and it was a really dumb purchase. But that's the gold I got. I got some cufflinks that are gold too.
Okay. So no, you're not a precious metals guy. You're not like a Ron Paul.
No. Oh, he's a precious. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
he's all about he's got gold buried everywhere. We tried to get him to tell us where it was buried, and he wouldn't.
Well,
tell.
he's in Kentucky, so we know where it is.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
General area.
Yeah.
We were trying to give him a hint, like the old oak tree by the
With the yellow ribbon. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Well, we've got a headline here for you.
Okay.
Kyle wrote it. Probably not autobiographical. Family does modified version of Dave Ramsey plan where they just never budget and spend way too much money. Your thoughts?
Sounds like a Babylon Bee release right there.
Yeah, well, it is.
Perfect. Yeah. And it happens like every day.
Yeah.
We call them ish. Yeah.
Ramsey-ish.
Ish. Yeah. I do it ish.
Ish.
And if you do the law of gravity ish, it hurts when you hit the ground. So,
So you're not into the modified Ramsey. I mean, I know, yeah.
I'm into helping anybody that wants some help, but the stuff we teach, we didn't invent. It comes from Scripture. It comes from your grandma and grandpa. It's called common sense, and you can do modified common sense, and you'll get modified results. I mean,
So all right. You got to go full Ramsey.
I'm, and it's working out for me. I've been doing it for a long time. After I went broke, I said, I don't really care what other people think, and I'm doing this, and I was a baby Christian and just learning what the Bible says about anything. And, well, Jesus, this is he loves me and he says, this is what to do. This is what I'm doing. And some people aren't going to like that. When you're broke, you don't care what people like. I just went broke. Your opinion, I'm not trying to impress anybody at that point. And that's kind of stuck around for about 30 years now. So working out for me.
The Tuttle Twins have distributed over 4 million copies of their pro-liberty children's book series to young families, schools, libraries, and homeschoolers across the country. These books teach children about the principles of liberty, entrepreneurship, and real American history. Their goal is to raise $10,000 to distribute more copies. It costs roughly $10 to distribute just one copy of their books to a young student. Please support the Tuttle Twins by making a donation of $10, $50, $100, or even more by visiting TuttleTwins.com/Ramsey. Your gift will empower a future generation of students to fight for our values and give young people an alternative to all the socialism that they're taught in classrooms. Again, please visit TuttleTwins.com/Ramsey to make a donation and help the Tuttle Twins reach their urgent goal.
I joke about doing keto plus. The idea of keto is no carbs, and then your body learns to burn fat instead of carbs. So you have to eat a high-fat diet. If you do modified keto, you eat high fat and some carbs. You just end up becoming
completely destroys the whole concept. Yeah, it neutralizes the whole idea.
Well, I'll share. It was a jolt when my wife and I heard one of your famous Dave rants. It was the title of the thumbnail. I could still remember it was "Stop the Ish," and you just said, "Stop doing Dave Ramsey ish." And what happened was we were a couple years into doing Dave Ramsey ish. That turned a corner for us, and it was over the course of 5 years total that we paid down $126,000 in student debt.
I remember this.
Came here in October with John Deloney and Dr. John Deloney and Ken to do our debt-free scream, and it was that caused us to turn a corner.
Legendary. We did your Babylon Bee doing a debt-free scream.
We did your full system. We didn't do a thing wrong. We did the EveryDollar app. We followed every jot and tittle of your book.
And then that's when it worked. And when it was ish, you were treading water.
You don't really look like you just eat rice and beans, honestly.
It was the Keto Plus. No, that's how I kept my girlish figure. Rice and beans.
Rice and beans.
No,
Beans
I'm
and
kidding.
rice.
We didn't do it perfect, but it moved the needle.
Nobody does it perfect. Nobody does anything perfect.
That was what really helped us. And it was student
but-
debt. It was like 60 grand from my master's degree, 60 grand from our undergrad. We got in the hole, but we dug out.
Well, you guys get a lot of mileage out of people and cultural weirdos that are, that they refuse to submit themselves to anything. And, part of getting the best out of life is learning, choosing carefully with wisdom what to submit to, what's going to be your boss, because something's going to be your boss. Somebody's going to tell you what to do, somewhere, somehow, something. The marketplace is going to scream at you that you're stupid. If you do something, if we do something stupid at Ramsey, they go, "You suck," and so that item is not profitable, and that's the marketplace having a conversation with you, right? And so but you guys, submitting is it's a weird thing, and hire a personal trainer, and he's got a 6-pack, and I got a keg, and I want to argue with him about his nutrition plan. It's so counterproductive,
Well, it's kind of, that is the American philosophy, and a lot of it based on classical liberalism, that we have this individualism, that we can go do what we want. And I mean, is there anything to that, or is it just, what's the Christian perspective on that? Because it's liberty, but...
Yeah, the individualism, it depends on, what you're going to be. I want to be independent. Good, okay. Independent of what? Because you're going to be dependent on something. And, but I struggle, we've talked about this on the air last couple of days a little bit. I struggle with that phrase, financial independence. Because, you never really get independent. As a matter of fact, the more stuff you own, the more repairmen you have to know. So, it's like, there's an increased dependence. The more technology I have, the more dependent I am on somebody that knows how to work it, because I don't. And so, you don't get away. Hermit is a mental illness. So, being completely independent is ludicrous, and it's not good spiritual, mental health, either one. And so if you're looking to get enough money to not have to deal with people, that's not a good motivation for that. Because the problem with wealth is it'll make you more of what you already are. So if you're a lover of people and you want to help people and you want to be generous and you get wealth, and that's expanded. If you're a jerk and you're angry and you get wealth, that's expanded. You're a big jerk. And so, and we see that all the time. And that's where sometimes the rich get a bad name, is because somebody that's a jerk gets money, and it just magnified the fact that they were a jerk. The money didn't make them a jerk. They were already a jerk. The money exposed it. And so this independence thing is tied into that. So I don't really want to be financially independent. I want to have wealth that I'm managing as a Christian for God's glory, and that includes taking care of my family and changing my family tree. That includes lifting other people that are struggling and hurting. It includes all of those things, but I can't do any of that without wealth. And so wealth's just a tool at that point. But you're not independent. You don't move to Costa Rica and hide in a cave. What are you going to do? Where are you going?
That's a positive vision of wealth, and it's the opposite of what you hear in popular culture. Y'all did the biggest study ever of millionaires. I remember the prior one was, 750, which was statistically significant, but you said we're going to 10x it, and then you went a little further and you did over 10,000. And what you determined was the popular understanding, which is that most wealth is inherited, was totally incorrect. Why does that myth about wealth continue to prevail?
Communist college professor.
You're on the Babylon Bee. You're speaking our language.
Yeah, it's Marxism at its core is it's an underlying turbulence that causes a wealth inequality discussion, and it causes a universal wage discussion and all these kinds of things. Like I need a certain amount level of stipend so I can only play Zelda. That was the name of the game.
Hey, good job.
Good callback there.
A callback.
Yeah. And so, I need that. And no, you need to get a job and be like a productive part of the culture and stuff. Like help people and things. Serve somebody. You got to serve somebody, dude. And so, yeah, that I think that's where it comes from. And so the way you defeat it is you say, the reason someone's concerned about, for instance, wealth inequality is they feel like it's not fair, which translated means I don't think I can. And it's a hopelessness. And Proverbs says, hope deferred makes the heart sick. It's a sickness of heart. And so then it twists and it turns and it becomes an activist, or it twists and it turns and it becomes an anarchy movement or something like that. And all of that is based on, I guess if you were using liberal terms, disenfranchised, but really what it is heart illness, sickness of heart, hopelessness. It's sad. It's sad. And so what we're talking about with this stuff is not just to put those hope stealers, straw man arguments aside and just defeat them with sound data and with reason, but also the reason for doing that is not just to have an argument or win a debate. It's because they can't steal people's hope. We got to give them hope. We got to say, you can do this in America today. As a matter of fact, right now at this moment, because of that smartphone, because of the way technology works, you can just decide you're in business. And, in the next 20 minutes, you've got an eBay store. In the next 20 minutes, you're selling stuff on your Instagram page. In the next 20 minutes, you're buying stuff at a garage sale. And we talked to a kid yesterday in Phoenix, was 20 years old, made $120,000 last year. He goes and picks up people's used furniture off the curb that they've thrown out, refurbishes it and sells it and puts it on Facebook Marketplace and sells it. Made $120,000 last year. And 20 years old. And, and tell me I can't find a job, get off
flower bed
and go to work.
We'll have to flower bed that.
Yeah, will be bleeped down.
So, I mean, that tends to be an empowering message, and it's from Proverbs that wealth tends to follow diligence. Did you find that in your massive study of millionaires, look at me being a suck up again. Did you find that in y'all's massive study of millionaires?
Let me interject. I wanted also, so you're saying communism is bad.
Just to be clear.
Just to clarify.
Well,
Dave Ramsey comes out against communism.
I'm not an
It's
ideologue.
a bold political stance.
I'm just it's not even a political thing with me. It's just an observation.
Yeah, sure.
You can't find anywhere in history that the little man got ahead with it. And I started with nothing. And then I went bankrupt because I was stupid. So I've done it twice. That's how good America is. I mean, and you can't. That doesn't happen in Russia, and that doesn't happen in China. That doesn't happen in socialist, Sweden. You're stuck in the old country. You're stuck in the feudal system, and here you can just dream something up, and in one generation, you're Mr. Facebook. Oh my gosh!
And that was my question. In your study of millionaires, were a lot of the millionaires first-generation millionaires?
79%. We studied 10,167 millionaires. 79% received exactly nothing as an inheritance. 5% received a small amount, like Granny left them $5,000, which mathematically does not make you a millionaire. And another 5% received substantial money, like $250,000, after they were already millionaires. So they did. So 79, 5, and 5 is 89. 9 out of 10 millionaires in America did not become millionaires because of inherited wealth, statistically. And that's a airtight research, solid data, to the point that if you don't agree with that, you're what's known as wrong. Okay, that's how that works. So it's not. I didn't make this up, and there's no confirmation bias. There's no anything going on. We had outside research firms study our methodology because we knew we were going to be critiqued and argued with, and the whiny lefties would go doing that. And it was just, we knew that was coming, and it has come. Entire pages are dedicated to hating on me for this stuff. But yeah.
We were able to extract some of the main stuff we wanted to extract for the Babylon Bee. There's one big thing we'd like you to do.
What's that?
Would you be so kind as to look into that camera?
Which camera?
That camera. This
camera?
Yes.
Which camera? This camera? Which one you want me to look at, guys?
The producers are pointing at the middle.
All right, the middle.
Would you be so kind as to say, subscribe to the Babylon Bee?
Absolutely. Hey, we're huge Babylon Bee fans. We were fans of the Bee before the Bee was cool. You should subscribe to the Babylon Bee.
High five, Kyle.
We did it.
You did
Pack it up? No,
the interview's over. That's all we came here for.
Well, there's another headline we'd like to share with you.
All right.
Yeah.
Biden official calls Dave Ramsey's radio show for advice on paying off $31 trillion debt.
That was actually one of y'all's releases, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Did it do well? Did it get a bump?
These are all Babylon Bee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They're not real. It's fake.
If I don't happen to open Instagram, which is where I'll pick you guys up because I got off Twitter, it's just full of trolls. But
it's called X now, actually.
I'm sorry about that, Elon. But the it sucks, but I got off of it, and so we're on it, but I'm not. I don't open the thing because it's just I hate Dave's stuff on there. So, but the if I don't open up my social media fast enough to see you guys and you guys feature me on something, 6 of my friends will go, "You're famous. You're on the B, Dave. Look at it, man. This is so funny. They nailed you." And it's like all these old boomers are calling me all day long, and they're just worshiping you guys. It's so fun. I love it. Thank you.
I like the idea that we can just make his whole day insane.
His phone's getting blown up. He's on the air silencing it.
So if
Biden, what was it?
If Biden calls
official.
in, or let's say an anonymous caller calls in, he sounds like an old guy, and he said, "Hey,
Having
man,
trouble stringing a sentence
Yeah.
together. Yeah, that guy.
He says something like, "Hey man, I got this 31 trillion in debt, and I don't know what to do." And
Some ice cream.
what do I do, Dave? What's your advice to?
Wow. That is just truly satire. Yeah, if you want to get serious about it, I don't know.
Ahead.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there's any party or person that has enough political capital to. I mean, if you think about to cause people to embrace the level of pain that they're going to have to straighten that out, because a lot of people are going to hear a word they haven't heard in years. It's an ancient word, no. And when you start telling people no in America today, they get really angry. Tell them that they have to sacrifice to win. Tell them they have to pay a price that, that no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but it yields a harvest of righteousness. If you start telling people stuff like that, live like no one else.
You should write that down. You should
can live like no one else. I think it's already in the Bible, but yeah. I changed it and I call it live like no one else, so later you can live like no one else. But yeah, that's how you would do it. But I mean, you know what that would involve? Is the number of things that, my grandmother gets something and you just took that away, and man, you would be the most unpopular. I don't know if anybody's got the political capital or the backbone to absorb that much hate.
You'd be
of course,
a
it's not just cutting, it's also increasing revenues, the incoming revenues, and that's not a tax hike necessarily, as Art Laffer has taught us. Sometimes a tax cut creates more revenue, but some people don't like that because they call it Reaganomics. It's Laffernomics. He was Reagan's guy that wrote that. But yeah, trickle down came from Art Laffer.
We'll call it Ramseynomics.
Yeah, if we're going to spread the hate around, let's do it.
Did you see the Barbie movie this week?
I missed that one.
You missed it. What about Oppenheimer?
I'm going to go see that one. I hear to see it in 3D.
Okay.
And the one I did go see is a Caviezel movie.
Oh, you saw Sound of Freedom?
Yeah, Sound of Freedom is incredible. Well, it's just dark, and I'm redneck, and so I was just angry.
Yeah.
I was just like, all of these people that harm little children, I don't have good Christian thoughts about what should happen to them, and so it's bad. I've got a lot of friends that do ministry in sex trafficking, and clean up that mess, and on several sides of it, the legal front or the door kicking side, and get the kids out, all this stuff. And it's a brutal mess. And for someone to come out and act like it's a made up thing is just...
It's a QAnon adjacent conspiracy.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. That just...
When it's like based on a true story. I mean, I don't know if there's a narrative liberties or whatever.
Well, it's a singular event was their point, and it doesn't really happen. And of course it happens. It happens millions and millions and millions and millions. It's really scary.
As a father of 4 young children, I'm skipping it for now. Doesn't seem like a good date night flick for my wife and I.
No, you'd be like freaked
it's like
out,
you feel
paranoid.
weird eating popcorn at a movie like that. Like same thing with Passion of the Christ, which is also Jim Caviezel.
Yeah,
2 movies you only want to see one time.
Some serious downers, yeah. What about Mission Impossible? Did you see it?
No, but I saw the stunt, the Cruise. What a superhuman being! Unbelievable that guy.
Talk about someone with an entrepreneurial bone as well as the acting chops, of course.
He's just got chops, man. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I've never met him, but I mean that jump, and man, I do some X Games stuff, but nothing like that. That's just bizarre stuff. I mean, I've done parachuting, but not. Jeez, it's wild. And I'll go see it because of that thing, because I watched that. That YouTube thing was going around about the making of it. It was pretty good. Cool. It was pretty cool.
Do you golf?
I'm just learning.
Is it ball or
No,
disc?
I go out there.
Do you ball golf or disc golf? It's a serious question, okay?
I have disc golfed before I ball golfed. Yeah, I started about 5 years ago, so I suck. I'm pretty much here. I play with people that are good. I played with some guys the other day that are real good.
My struggle with ball golf is that you have to have a basic level of competence to have fun. You know, like if you're just going off, it's just not fun.
Well, or when I started, I knew how I get too down the rabbit hole, OCD serious about stuff, and like I can't stand not doing something well. I knew if we're going to start, I was like almost 60 years old before I started playing. Right, so my wife and I are learning to play together. We're taking lessons. My motto is the secret to happiness is low expectations. And so we're just going to go out here. It's a pretty place. I'm with my wife. We're spending time together. We lose 63 balls. It's all good. It's all good. I can afford it.
My struggle with disc golf is that I'm a born-again Christian, so they always pat you down to make sure you have your regulation bong or pipe, and I never do.
Yeah.
So they don't let me onto the disc golf course.
Yeah. You gotta be.
That's great. I didn't know that was required. Nobody told me that part.
Disc
Okay.
golf.
Yeah.
That's
You can get disqualified if you pass a drug.
That's it.
On those courses. All right. Well, we're getting close towards the end here, but I guess we got a few more questions. You can go back in time 10 years and talk to 20-year-old Dave Ramsey. You can say, like one sentence to yourself.
One tweet length sentence.
This is going to be harder than you think.
That's what you say?
This is going to be harder than you think. I always thought it was going to just happen, and I'm still waiting on it to just happen.
Still waiting to arrive, huh?
Yeah, when you arrive, let me know. But it's still scratching and clawing, still fighting, and still pulling every single item. It seems like everything we do is in ones. I wish occasionally something would just hockey stick. But you do that 30 years, you're an overnight success. But it's a lot of work.
Well, that's interesting because that is how people think of things, that you arrive. And we've talked to people that are successful Hollywood directors and stuff, and like, when did you arrive? And they're like, I'm still.
Yeah. Well, the thing I talked to interviewed like you have a lot of people that are very successful in all kinds of different things, whether it's ministry or whether it's
satire,
huge church,
news satire.
I'm with the Babylon Bee, and and I say this all the time, but it's old news. But the gleaming mountain of success is really a pile of failures. It's a pile of garbage. It's all the dumb stuff you did, and you're standing on it instead of laying under it. That's the only difference. And so just don't do stuff that's big enough that it takes you out. Like when I filed bankruptcy, it took me out. I had to start completely over because I did stupid so big that I couldn't recover from it. Do little stupid stuff.
Stupid.
Yeah, do little stuff.
Stupid, not big stupid.
There's the secret to success.
Do little stupid. I'm looking over your shoulder at a book by Rachel Cruz, Know Yourself, Know Your Money. You have 3 children. We wanted to ask a parenting question.
Okay.
Did you have any pictures or videos of them taking their first steps, their first baby steps?
Oh, but a boom. Rim shot.
I told him not to say that.
Rim shot.
I tried to veto
Shot.
it.
It was funny in his head. Actually, we do, but not their financial baby steps.
So you don't ever ask the IT department to take a peek at their EveryDollar accounts, make sure they're up to snuff?
No. One thing is if you raise them and release them, they should just stay gone. And so I don't need to manage their lives. They need to manage their lives. And
No boomerang children?
nah, we haven't any boomerang children. No.
You co-authored a book with your daughter, Rachel Cruz, Smart Money, Smart Kids.
That was her first number 1. Yeah.
Does that mean she's your favorite?
No.
Can you give us a ranked list?
Do you want to rank them out?
Yeah.
No. Rachel is the most like me, and so she and I argue the most.
Yeah.
And sometimes on the air, to the great joy of our audience. And,
Good radio.
But yeah, she sits on our operating board too, and we have some arguments in there from time to time. The whole operating board does. It's how we process stuff. We're hillbillies. We fight. So, but she'll lead the charge on that. Where my oldest daughter's more like our mom. She's chill and she's a big ministry heart, very kind. She runs our foundation, all of the giving, and so she's the sweet one in that regard. Rachel's sweet too, but and then Daniel's is our president of the company, and so he and I run the day-to-day ops around here, so he's very entrepreneurial. But they're very, obviously, like anybody's got kids, they're 3 different kids, and they're 3 wonderful kids. And they turned out, and they all 3 married well. They're great spouses, thank God.
I think it's
And,
I think it's sweet that they all landed here. It's none of them had a it's not my dream, Dad. It's yours.
Well, I mean, they have the ability to do that. Denise did it first. Denise worked for a ministry called Mercy Ministries with Nancy Alcorn, and when she came out of college. And when we started the Family Foundation, we said, hey, we're going to bring in somebody to be a director, and we got to learn how to do this because I don't know how to do it. And we got to, and do you want to come in and learn how to be the director, and I'll learn with you, and we'll do this? And she said, no, I don't think God's called me to do that. So got my own thing over here. And then about 2 years later, I was still limping along with that thing, and she said, I feel like my season's changed, and I'm good. So she ended up coming in. But at first, she stiff-armed us, which is fine. She's allowed to do that. We told them, don't come to work here unless God calls you, because it's a pain in the butt to work with family.
None of them went off and worked at American Express or anything.
We don't have any
sheep.
heretics in the family.
Black sheep of the family.
Awkward family reunions.
Not working at a Bank of America.
Exactly.
Disown you. Yeah.
Well, we conclude each of our interviews with the same 10 questions.
The 10 questions.
Hey everyone, today we spoke with Dave Ramsey, and the Ramsey Show talks a lot about budget and giving every dollar a name before the month begins, so you know what it's doing instead of wondering where it went. Unfortunately, when you shop businesses pushing woke progressive agendas, those hard-earned dollars are helping fund the very policies that you fundamentally stand against. Policies that further divide Americans while eroding the future of the American economy. So what is the answer? Well, the answer starts with you and your wallet. Imagine a world where every single dollar you spend could go towards patriotic companies that share your values for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. With Public Square, you can. Public Square is a free app and website that connects freedom-loving Americans to a nationwide platform with the largest gathering of patriotic consumers, businesses, and services our country has ever seen. So take even more control of your money by putting purpose behind every dollar that you spend. Download the Public Square app today. It's available from the Apple App Store, Google Play, or visit publicsq.com. That's publicsq.com. Again, that's publicsq.com.
And the first one is, have you ever met Carmen?
No, but I'm of the age of Christian. You're talking about Christian Carmen, right?
Yeah,
I followed all of it back in the day, and most of your audience doesn't even know who that is, probably.
And most of our guests.
Most of our guests too.
Absolutely. No, I was a fan at one point, but I don't know what happened to the guy. But anyway, yeah, because I'm the age.
We've got bad news for you.
So like Amy Grant and Michael W. Smith and Stephen Curtis Chapman, right? They're like on the Mount Rushmore of Christian music for me. That's the age I am.
Wait,
so.
who were they again?
Amy Grant, Stephen Curtis Chapman, Michael W.
Smith.
Yeah.
Stephen Curtis Chapman's out here in Nashville.
Yeah, they're all three friends now.
So sweet.
But, yeah.
You need a fourth one, though.
Okay. I do, because there's supposed to be 4 on there, but I don't know who it is. I'm sure there is, but...
Keith Green?
Yeah, he's gone.
He's gone as well.
What about all 3 DC Talk members, like as one horrifying amalgamation?
Amalgamation.
That they would say that was horrifying.
Rich Mullins.
Yeah, that would do. Yeah, there's a lot you can do a lot. Sandy Patty. I mean, there's a lot of people you put in there. That ilk of that era, but that's the Carmen era.
Yeah.
Back there in the 80s, the awesome 80s.
I would put KJ52 up there.
We've got another question for you.
All right.
Calvinist or Arminian?
It's one of my favorite T-shirts. This T-shirt shows me I'm a Calvinist, and the back says, I chose the T-shirt, I'm Arminian.
Oh, that's so good. Great answer.
Great shirt, yeah. Yeah, probably somewhere in between. I can't get to 5 tulips of Calvinism.
Can't get to all 5.
Can't get all there. Can't
Are you
get
4.5?
And yet I've had so many things happen to me that I have to stand back and go, that was providence. I didn't choose it all. But I also know if I don't plant corn, none grows, sowing and reaping. So that's, that'll move you towards Arminianism. So,
You're right in the middle.
Yeah, somewhere.
All right.
Depending on which day as to which direction.
All right. All right. He's an Arminian.
If you're not a Calvinist, you have to be.
Exactly.
According to Calvin,
Yeah, you got to go full on.
You have to submit to the all 5,
Calvinist-ish.
Don't be ish.
Modified Calvinism.
If you're ish, you're Arminian. Yeah, that's it. You're right.
You
should be killed, yeah. There's that, but yeah.
You get to add 1 book to the Bible. What is it?
Oh, you walk me into blasphemy. Oh,
well, Jesus appears and he's like,
that.
Okay, well, completely unrelated question. What's your favorite book besides the Bible?
Man, that's hard.
And then we'll add it.
I am a completely book junkie. Wow. I don't know, but I tell you, 20 years ago I read it, and I just read it 2 weeks ago again. Man's Search for Meaning with Viktor Frankl.
Yeah.
I really comprehend very well when I read, but it was like I read it fresh, like I'd never read it before. It tore me up again.
Right.
Do you do audiobooks or physical books?
That was physical. I like physical if I can, but if I'm just running and gunning, I'll throw an audio on just to keep something in my ear. That's productive.
We got another question for you.
All right.
Cigars or pipes?
Oh, cigar. I've got a pipe, but I don't have the patience for it.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Is it for the?
You got it. Makes you smarter though. That your IQ goes up. Cigars make you more arrogant, but a pipe makes you like my buddy Stephen Mansfield. He's a writer, and hang out with him, and he's a pipe guy.
You guys don't take your pipes on the disc golf course?
Different pipe. Yeah.
You're talking about a Gandalf pipe, not a disc golf pipe.
Different pipe. I'm thinking tobacco. But,
Well, we should have carved out time for cigars with.
We should have cigars with Dave.
I didn't even think about it. Oh, you get to hang out with any three people, living or dead. Who are they?
wow.
And you can't pick
These
Jesus.
are hard.
You can't pick Jesus.
And you got to do this off the top of your head, and you can't.
Well, we
say
did
Jesus.
send you the notes, but you
can't
didn't
say
read
Jesus. Yeah. So Luther.
Ooh, good choice.
Paul. I'm thinking rabble rousers. Who stirred up the ruckus? George Washington. I don't know. Enthralled. Probably Daniel Boone. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd love to see Daniel Boone.
Okay.
Good choices.
Weird choices.
Yeah.
Whiskey or beer?
Oh, whiskey. Yeah. I'm a bourbon guy. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, wait a minute. I just said that where people will hear it. Wait a minute. I just lost 5 Baptist churches. Just okay. Oh, well.
What would be the first thing you would do as president?
Not run. I don't need that job. I would not be a good
But
president.
they made you. You're there.
I don't have the patience for those people.
Jesus appears and says you have to be president.
Yeah, there it is. He keeps appearing today.
We know how to pull his strings.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah. I think the only thing the president's position is good for is to use it as a bully pulpit, a motivational lift to cause people to be the best versions of themselves. So that makes my favorite president Ronald Reagan. And that's not a policy statement, although I agree with most of his policies, not all of them. But in a weird way, in a twisted way, Trump did some of that. But there was so much acrimony around it that you couldn't hear you couldn't hear the aspirational lift. But this idea that it's like I tell people all the time that call in here, you changed my life. I didn't change your life. I showed you how. You changed your life. You're the hero. You guys went and paid off $126,000. I did not pay a dime of your debt. You changed your life. You're the hero of that story, not me. And so, and presidents too many of them and too many congressmen and senators want to be the hero. And the American people are the freaking hero. If you make the people the hero, they'll go fix these problems. And Reagan did a lot of that. He did well with that. And so the presidents, to the extent they did that, have been better presidents.
I like the idea that you would become president and then you would just set up the Ramsey show in the Oval Office.
Start taking calls.
Start taking calls.
That's stupid. That's stupid.
Yeah.
Cancel the IRS.
That's the exact message of Donald Miller's Building a Story brand.
Exactly it is. That's how Donald and I became friends.
You're a key figure in that book, and he says Dave Ramsey's operation does a great job of stepping back and saying, we're the guide and the mentor. You're the hero.
We were doing it before we knew we were doing it. Donald gave us words to it, gave us a vernacular to it, and he goes, this is what you're doing. Those debt-free screams, you're making them the hero. And I'm like, because they are the hero. I'm under no illusion that I actually did it, but I did show you how. I gave you the information and the inspiration, and I wish more people in office would provide information and inspiration and let people fix the problems instead of like, I'm here to help.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you're killing me.
We have a less dignified question now.
Oh, good.
Mr. Ramsey, have you ever punched anyone or been punched?
Yeah, I grew up in redneck. I grew up. It's been a long time, but yeah.
What is your best punching story?
Yeah.
Or is it all as a kid? Is it all as a youth?
It was all teenager and college stuff or something. I mean, I grew up in a neighborhood where that was a normal process, and so it wasn't. I mean, the socioeconomic environment was,
You just punch people.
Somebody's being
You just punch people.
Somebody says something about your relative or whatever, your mother or whatever, then they're we're not going to discuss this intellectually. So, but yeah.
So no punching anyone recently.
No. I'm Jesus has helped me, and
that's good.
I quit doing that a long time ago.
Right.
So
Your nose looks intact. No cauliflower ear.
It got broke once. Kid busted me pretty good.
Oh.
Well, that's the punching story.
Yeah,
That's the punching story.
You get to go to one concert, any band in history. Who do you go see?
Beatles.
Yeah.
Never got to see them live, and so that's why I would call that. But my number one band would be Eagles, and they're getting ready to end it.
Yeah, but you've seen them.
A bunch of
You've
times.
seen them live, yeah.
When they first came out, I was there, and so
Yeah.
I was 16 when they were coming out. So
I hate it when I get this question, but here we go.
all right.
Wow, this is the best question.
This is the best question, maybe. Good conversation starter.
If Jesus came to you,
and told me I had to
If
ask
Jesus
this
appeared.
question. Do you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior?
With every head bowed and every eye closed.
Cue the piano music,
no.
soft organs.
I met Jesus as an adult, and and was on my way up financially. We started with nothing, and we're starting to make real money for a kid that had never seen any money. And stumbled in the back door of a church, and these people were raising their hands like they knew some answer to some question. And I told my wife, if snakes come out, I'm out of here. And that was so long ago, people didn't raise their hands. It was that long. I mean, only the weird churches back then. In 1982. So, but yeah, these people loved me, and Pastor L.H. Hardwick became my spiritual dad, and I learned the Bible there. I got baptized there. I met God there. I got to preach his funeral 18 months ago, and got one of a few people that spoke. I wasn't the only one that was there, and absolutely incredible man. His sons are two of my best friends. They're like brothers to me now, and to this day. And so, yeah, absolutely, game on.
All right. Well, it sounds like he was already converted, but can we get a rededication then?
Can we rebaptize in some cigar smoke? Yeah.
How many times have you walked down the aisle? Just the one time?
Just once.
Okay,
I
all right.
don't.
It's stuck.
I wasn't the kid at youth camp that every summer got saved.
Yeah, most of us have done it.
I have ministered to a few of those over the years, but yeah, every summer little Bobby gets saved again. By Christmas, the pot's back out.
He's playing disc golf again.
He's back on the disc golf course again. Good callback.
Well, thanks for coming on our show, and thanks for donating our cool new
Absolutely.
set that we're going to take home with us.
Hey, we have our own blended logo
Look at that.
here now.
Look at that.
So that means we'll have to do this again.
Yeah. Awesome.
Honored, guys.
Thank
It's
you
so
so
fun.
much.
I
Really
love what you
appreciate
do.
it. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.